but I am ready. Are we going?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay. Hello, my name is Mrs. Melanin.
And I'm Beleaf Mel.
And we're here with episode 33 of
How Married Are You?
Yep. Babe, you got to play our new little...
Oh, okay. Jeez. All right. I mean, don't you think we should say something first? Like, okay, now it's that time again. What time is it?
Okay. Let's do it. Oh, you
Story time. Now we're going to turn it down. All right, babe. Chocolate baby story time. What you got?
I think you should start.
Oh, gosh. I have so many stories, guys. We were at the park with my homie TJ, and Uriah and Theo, they went to go play, and his daughter was pretty shy. She was playing, but Uriah wanted to do like the little like make me dizzy spinny thing. You know what I'm saying? So he wants to spin around, and I'm like, bro, make sure when you get off that you hold on and you don't get off too fast. But Uriah, he's like a frantic jumper. He does a lot of things, and he gets off and like busts his mouth on the bottom of the twisty thing, and it just was like ridiculous. And I thought he was like he came over to me. He did not want to play anymore. He like held on to my leg, and then he was crying for a long time, and then like he got a bruise in the inside of his mouth, but then he was like, I want to play. And I was like, cool, but what did he want to play with? More spinny things. So all he wanted to do was spin, and I was like, dang, man, like. And so he didn't hurt himself again, but yeah.
So can I tell a story of that? If you watch Beleaf in Fatherhood, you already seen footage of this story. And if you don't watch Beleaf in Fatherhood, we'll link it right here in the
show notes or the card.
Yes. So sorry.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But the other day, I took the kids to one of our friends' birthday parties, and I was getting everybody out of the car. Well, Theo and Riley, they always get themselves out the car, and I was grabbing Anaya and like the diaper bag and stuff. Next thing you know, I'm closing the doors, get the diaper bag on my shoulder, and I look over and the boys are over by these like plants or whatever. But then the next thing you know, Theo comes over and he is freaking out because his hands are full of cactus spines,
needles,
mm-hmm. Whatever they're called. And I'm just like,
what's the correct term for cactus needles?
I don't know.
Is it cacti, or is that a bunch of cactus?
Cacti, isn't that the plural of cactus? Or
right,
is
that's
cactus
what I'm saying.
The plural?
Cacti is a plural of cactus.
Of multiple cactuses.
Okay.
Cactus.
Okay, cool.
Why are we talking about that?
Sorry.
Anyway, yeah. And guys, like, he literally, at first I was like, okay, let's just brush it off, right? Because I didn't know, I didn't know what was going on. And so I literally took like the sleeve of my sweater and just went across his hand.
Oh my gosh.
The poor child freaked out. Guys, just know that I didn't have any sympathy for him at all. Because I asked him, I was like, Theo, what does that look like? First thing he says, cactus. I'm like, and then the thing is, y'all, it was crazy because I sent a picture of Theo's hands to Glen, and Glen just goes, Uriah. Yeah. But I was like, babe, this is not Uriah's hands. This is Theo's hands. Like, it was so crazy because it's something that just Theo is just, not to say Uriah's not smart, but Theo is too smart for that. Like, and then his story, you didn't even include that in the video. But when you asked Theo to explain himself, he was like, oh, I just touched it with one finger. I wanted to see how it felt. And then he took his whole hand and touched it. But then he took his other hand and touched it.
Yeah.
It was just like, what are you thinking? So for 45 minutes, I'm sitting there with tweezers, picking them out of his hands. My friends and my friends' mothers are helping me pick out the tweezers. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
I was just that was like one of those moments in parenting where it was like, I don't really have very much grace for the situation.
Yeah. The funny thing is, like, whatever Like, I think cacti, right? I think it's something alluring about them that attracts animals to them so that they can defend themselves. Otherwise, why would they need to be, spiky? You know what I'm saying? Like, other plants aren't spiky, so it's a reason.
Don't they hold like water?
They hold water or something nutritious.
Yeah.
Right? So whatever allured Theo possibly allures a fox. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the same thing to me. And that's the interesting thing, that he touched it and then he grabbed it.
Yeah.
And so actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put that version, because I forgot we recorded that, of him explaining why he did it. I'm going to put that version on Patreon. And so, yeah. So if you want to check that out, make sure you hit the Patreon link, and we'll put that in the card or the show notes. So, yeah, man, interesting kid, that one.
Yeah.
He's becoming, less.
Yeah. Less what, babe? What's your word?
I don't know. I don't want to say what I want to say.
I was going to say, what are you trying to say?
Yeah, because I don't mean what I want to say, but I don't have anything else to say. So I'm just not going to say nothing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool. And where we at right now? What's next? What's the next segment?
This next segment is when we listen to you all tell us how awesome we are. No, I'm just kidding. But no, really, we love it when you guys send in words of affirmation via the IG DMs or via the Anchor app voicemails. It's just an opportunity for you guys to tell us, why are you listening? And you're not only telling us, but you're allowing us to take that and share it with other people to let them know why they should be listening. And so we appreciate you doing that. But we also would love to hear your words of affirmation via text on the reviews of the podcast app that you choose to listen to our podcast on. It just helps us get more attention. Not that we're attention.
Yeah, it helps us get exposed to more people who may be interested in the content.
It helps us get more exposure. And so if you give us a 5-star rating,
5-star or nothing,
and a review, we just love that as well. As just as affirming as if you sent in a voicemail. So please don't forget to do that. As a matter of fact, why don't you pause this podcast right now and go ahead and do that? You may not even have to pause it depending on what app you have.
Let's do a moment of silence. Okay, welcome back.
Okay. We hope you guys took care of your business right there. All right, let's hop into these words of affirmation, babe.
All right, here we go. And this is episode 32, Words of Affirmation.
Hey guys, this is Jasmine. I just wanted to say I absolutely love the How Married Are You podcast. It is literally hilarious and motivational at the same time. I am married and I use this podcast to bring up topics with my husband, and we just have a great time talking about things along with you guys. Stop to the beat, y'all. It don't stop. A freak, y'all. It don't stop to the beat, y'all. It don't stop. A freak. And on top of that, like, you guys bring up so many great things to think about for one day when we have kids, and I just love it. Thank you so much for all you do. Keep up the hard work.
Thank you so much, Jasmine, for those words of affirmation. They mean the world to us. Yeah. Oh, I got some news. If you're watching the podcast, you're going to see someone is in a very pleasant mood.
I'm very comfortable.
And Yvette, thank you so much to you, those of you who donated to the collection plate via PayPal and supported us and have allowed us to purchase a new chair for Yvette. So I'm going to play a little bit of a video right now. And right now you'll actually see us getting the chair, unboxing it and assembling it in time lapse right now on YouTube. The kids wanted to test out the chair and see how far it could go up, how high it can go up, and it's actually really comfortable.
And twirl it
around. But is it comfortable, babe?
It's very comfortable. It's a huge improvement. My full bottom is supported. I even have a pillow on my back. Like, I even have a back because before we didn't have backs. Glen still doesn't have a.
Yeah, I'm struggling over here, but I ain't even mad. You know what I'm saying? I'm just happy that my wife's in a good position because newsflash, that's how married I am. You know what I'm saying? No. But
that's how pregnant I am, fool.
Okay, but that's how supportive you guys are. How about that? That's how much you guys support us, that you guys would care enough to support Yvette's back, her body, so that she can sit here and do these long podcasts. Sometimes we try to do 2 in a row. And this is a long time to be sitting down in one place. So we thank you for that. If you want to support us, what's the link, babe?
PayPal.me/HMAY podcast.
A word? Okay, cool. And so that's the link. It's also in the show notes.
Yes.
But the next purchase is, I'm not going to get a chair next, but if you choose to support us, the next purchase will be Yvette to have some headphones so she can hear what's happening throughout the whole podcast. So I think we're a third of a way there. The headphones are like $250. If you want to support, that'd be awesome. But if not, it's all good. Just send us words of affirmation and support us whatever way you can. But we appreciate your support just for signing up on the podcast. Let's go ahead and hop into this topic.
Yes.
Yeah. So okay, I wanted to play a little video. This is your mom and your dad's first reaction to me. Now, this is not the moment that we met, but this is them. They came over the other day, and I wanted their honest opinion of how they viewed me when they first met me, like what they first think. And so here's this video. I hope you enjoy this while and we'll talk about we'll talk about the topic as soon as we're done. And then I want to ask a totally separate question. When I first showed up at your house, honest reactions. What were your thoughts? Were you think like I was gonna last long, or were you? What type of questions?
Let me answer that one first.
Okay.
Well, when you first showed up at the house, I thought, what in the world? You were not your appearance wasn't the type of appearance I was expecting from Yvette. Dreads, earring, and then you had a tat. So that's not what I expected from Yvette. Not that that was a bad thing. Anybody out there listening? It wasn't a bad thing, but honestly, to be honest, I thought Nicole was probably going to bring us home a guy from a different nationality, race.
Dad?
In regards to my first impression, again, my first impression was you at the Men's Warehouse. So I had that going for you, knowing that my initial contact with you was a very positive and refreshing experience. And so I had that coupled with what you came in with afterwards. I just thought that there was somewhat of a metamorphosis that took place in your image, but I wasn't taken back by it, and I knew David, your dad, was good people.
I didn't know your dad.
Shout out to all the ugly dudes, you know what I'm saying, who
I don't think they were saying you were ugly.
They were saying, she said, I was very surprised by your appearance.
By the
your dad said, I was taken aback by the metamorphosis that happened with your appearance. Metamorphosis.
Babe.
You ugly, bro. That's what your parents said about me. And
Babe.
I wasn't always ugly. I became ugly. And then I joined the family. That's foul, mom and dad.
That's not what they were saying.
Foul. I'm just saying.
That is not what they were saying at all.
Nah, that is what they were saying, man.
No,
it's
babe.
like, yeah, I was taken aback. Hashtag you ugly. Hashtag you ugly, bruh.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So anyway,
Too funny.
I met your dad before we started dating because he came in to buy a suit from the Men's Warehouse, and I didn't know who you were, but I met him and I got him fitted up in his suit, and he seemed like a very nice guy, and he thought the same about me. And
You remember him?
I remember him because he wore he wore his work
NCTD.
Yeah, he wore his work clothes, and my dad worked for the same place he worked for, driving the bus. And so I was like, oh, you work for NCTD? And he was like, oh, who's your dad? And I told him who my dad was, and so he was like, oh, okay, cool. And it was interesting that, you know, we actually got together, and then he got to see me again, though I looked how I looked. But what this whole conversation is basically stemming off the last conversation we had about,
excuse me,
you know, like what is appropriate for, you know, when should a women propose to men, or should men propose to women? And we were kind of talking about this whole conversation. And then when we were driving the bus, and I was talking to your dad about, you know, my intentions, and I said, I want to marry your daughter. And he started laughing. The first thing he said, I don't know if he remembers this, but the first thing Yvette's dad said when I told him that I wanted to marry her, he said, Yvette's high maintenance. And I was in love. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, we could do high maintenance. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand that. And I honestly didn't believe him.
Okay. I was going to say,
I did not believe him.
what evidence at that point did you have that I was high maintenance?
I had no evidence that you were high maintenance.
Okay.
I don't believe that you
still don't. Okay, but go
right.
ahead.
Okay. Okay. Now
Go ahead.
you know I got receipts.
Keep going. Okay. What were you trying to say?
So I posed a question last time we were talking in the last podcast. You said something about I'm not high maintenance, and I said you are, you know, and you were like taken aback. And so I want to talk about why you believe you're not high maintenance, and I want to maybe discuss maybe why you are. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know if I'm ready for this conversation.
Okay.
But okay.
Now, do we want to take it to Instagram first and see what everyone else was thinking, and then we'll bring it back to us?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, let's do that.
Well, actually, let's take it to, I don't know what I got this from. I think it's dictionary.com or something. They define high maintenance as needing frequent maintenance or repair. The informal definition being demanding a great deal of attention, money, or effort.
Do you feel that you demand a great deal of attention?
You stopped at attention, so obviously you believe
I'm just talking
that I demand a great deal of attention.
We're not talking about me. The question was, do you believe that you need attention, like a great deal of attention?
I don't know how to answer this. I really
Think
don't
about
think
yourself.
I do. I really don't think that
Okay,
I do. I
okay.
don't think that I demand more than normal.
True story, America.
Okay. True story what?
True story.
Are you about to say something?
I'm about to say something. Madigual. We lived off a street called Madigual. I was in the bathroom. I was taking a poop. Yvette sticks her fingers underneath the door and said, babe, what are you doing? And at that point, we had been married maybe 2 months.
2 seconds. No.
And I was like, I'm pooping. She goes, babe, come out and play with me.
What?
Yes.
Did I say
yes.
that?
Yes.
I said, come out and play with me.
Literally, come out and play with me. And I was like, oh. This is different. This seems a little excessive, but this.
Were you creeped out?
I was like,
were you like, oh shit?
I was starting to freak out because I felt like I couldn't breathe. Like I felt like there's only one exit in that bathroom. You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, it's the window, and the only one where you were at was blocked because you were there. And I was like, there's no other way out of this. I have to get out. Like I have to walk out of the bathroom. You know? Mm-hmm. And is she gonna? And then. And so, like, for me, like, I was kind of like, oh, that's different. I remember also.
Babe, we're not doing this right now. We're talking about definitions, and we're going to Instagram.
Okay,
You're not
go ahead.
I don't already like this episode. I don't want to be here.
I think this episode is going to be hilarious.
Babe, listen, though. Can I just say something
Go
on
ahead.
my defense?
Sure.
Babe, everybody knows when you take a poop, You are in there for like a whole hour.
Babe, this was early on.
You swear out you are pooping, pushing the whole time, but you're not. You're just sitting there on your phone, scrolling.
Okay, 2 months into our marriage, was Instagram popping like that? What was I
know.
doing?
No,
that was not happening.
I don't know, but still, I'm offended.
In 2010, don't be offended, babe.
No, listen. You spent too much time in the toilet.
Okay.
I'm moving on. What happened? What were we doing?
You're going to the definition.
Well, why didn't you ask me about money?
I'm getting to all of that.
I don't want to talk to you.
But
anyways, I took the freaking. So I made a post on Instagram and I was like, hey, Glen accused me of being high maintenance. So I'm really curious. How do you guys describe a person who is high maintenance? And so people typed away. And of the responses, we did I took the responses and I did like a word. What is it called? A word cloud. Glen's going to pop that on the screen right now. Okay. The biggest word is high maintenance.
Someone, standards,
time, things, attention.
Constantly expensive, requires, doesn't,
needs always. Like those are the big things that stand out.
Willing, budget, considers, money, love.
Are you reading the big ones? Because I'm not seeing that stuff.
I'm going small. I'm getting smaller. Okay. Attention.
Snob.
Ooh. Difficult.
Hard.
Picky.
Where do you see picky? Okay. Yeah, so we'll flash that word cloud on the screen for you guys to look at as well. I don't know if you guys are familiar with word clouds, but they're pretty neat.
And if you're listening to this, you might want to subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's a better experience there. You get to see our smiling faces and maybe be taken aback by the metamorphosis in my appearance. I just got to use that. Are you taking Hi, nice to meet you. Are you taken back by the metamorphosis of my appearance?
Leave my dad alone.
He be using them SAT words, man.
All right. So I don't know which ones do you have specific ones you want to read out loud? But it's tough to define. From a lazy person standpoint, one's desires could seem high maintenance, even though the person in question may consider themselves focused or driven. Very good point. Like, am I high maintenance or are you lazy?
See, I'm sure you don't want to go there because you're not even letting me speak. You're cutting me off, so I can't even. I'm like,
how am I cutting you off?
Like I was like, hey, this is ways that you that I thought you were high maintenance right after we got married. But go ahead.
But you're saying I continued to be high maintenance.
I did not say that. I never said that.
In the last episode, that's not what you were saying.
No, I didn't say that. Maybe I did, America.
You swear out all of America's listening. Okay, this person said, someone who is demanding and won't concede or compromise because they feel it is what they deserve. There's a level of expectation, and unless you meet it every time, then it creates a problem. I'm a self-ascribed hotel snob, and I am high maintenance when it comes to my lodging and where I sleep. I have certain standards, and if it's not met, then I feel physical pain. So wow. I must have my expectations met. Caveat, I don't hold anyone to a standard that I am not willing to hold myself to. That's a very good caveat. This person is responding on behalf of their husband. They said, I would describe someone as being high maintenance as someone who is constantly needing something, not just things, but also wants you to do a lot of stuff for them. Someone who also needs a lot of attention. Someone who needs constant attention, assistance, even when it's not necessary. And I will say, when I was reading through the comments that people were leaving, for me, when I thought of high maintenance, I always thought of it as someone who is costly. Mm-hmm. I always thought of it as and typically, honestly, because high maintenance is a term that's mostly associated with women, I considered it as a woman who always has to get her nails done, always has to have her hair done, like expects to be taken out, wined and dined like 100% of the time, always needs the latest fashionable purse or heels and shoes, you know, like just someone who is high maintenance.
Yeah, expensive.
So I always associated it in that form or fashion. So when I read through these and I was like, attention, it's like, I mean, I could use some attention, but I don't think the attention that I desire is more than normal. So I was curious to see what you were saying, because I know I'm not expensive. I mean,
I don't think you're expensive.
Okay,
I think, are you going to let me talk?
I don't know.
You don't want to hear what I got to say.
I don't.
You need to.
Should we keep reading?
Go ahead. Keep reading some of them comments.
Okay, so this person said Real Housewives of Orange County.
Okay. It doesn't have to be expense all the time, but also wanting something can be taxing and emotionally high in maintenance.
Diva-ish, picky, difficult, hard to please.
Yeah.
High maintenance people are often equipped with very entitled attitudes. Everything has to be done their way to the T, or it's a disaster. Unrealistic, problematic, delusional.
I don't think that's a little excessive.
That's a little bit strong. Not a team player, not for me. Not worth the hassle, selfish, materialistic, complainer, snob.
So that person has experienced it. That person they're speaking from, experience. So sorry, shout out to whoever that is. Let's read one more.
Okay, let's see. Oh, okay. There is one that I want to read, but I'll save it for later. But
no, read it now.
No, because it leads into a point that I want to make, and I want to make
You're
sure
not even letting me make my points, man. That's the sad thing about it.
Okay.
Just go ahead and make your point.
I'm trying to find it. Hold on, let me find it. I like how some people are like, maybe it's just a pregnancy that's making her high maintenance. Oh, come on. Where is it? Okay, here it is. She goes, so my husband and I just discussed this, and he's the definition of low maintenance, physically, spiritually, emotionally. Like he's a cactus, thrives on neglect, while I'm more of an orchid, needs some consistent spiritual and emotional watering, or I'll wither. And the funny thing is, as people were commenting, that is exactly what I started to think of. I started to think of a succulent versus like a flower or a roses that you have to take care of. Roses are a whole heck of a lot more expensive, and they take a lot more time. Like they can die within a week. Like they have a lifespan of a week once you clip them and put them in the vase. Whereas a succulent, those things last for a long time. And I actually did a little bit of a search. I actually compared an orchid versus a succulent. And an orchid, I even did a poll on my Instagram because I was like, anyone who has ever gotten an orchid, how long has it stayed alive? Like I even went a little bit further and I was like, have you kept your orchid alive longer than a month? And a majority of the people were saying no. I want to get the statistics, sorry. So, oh, wow. 59% now. It was more before, but 59% that they said they've never kept an orchid alive longer than a month. But I looked up the average lifespan of an orchid, and it's 9 to 14 months, right? I looked up the average lifespan of a succulent, and it's 6 or 8 years with proper care, but it can last up to a decade. And so I was like, yeah, because, and then the thing about succulents, I don't know if you know this, but succulents, like you don't have to water them very often for them to live. And like, if you forget to water them for a week, you can just add some water to that joker or re-put it in some soil and it'll, live or, become alive. Whereas an orchid, you can't neglect it like that. It takes a lot more care. And then I went to Lowe's.com and I looked up the cost of an orchid versus a succulent. You can get a succulent from Lowe's for $6.98. That's the cheapest succulent that I saw on there. 4-ounce succulent. An orchid, the cheapest one I saw was $13.98.
So it's half the price.
Yeah.
So are you defending the orchid?
No, what I'm saying is, am I an orchid or am I a succulent?
Well, do you know?
I think I'm the there was another plant. Well, where was it? I think I'm a devil's ivy.
The one that we got downstairs that you don't water. Got it.
Exactly. But you can it's one of those plants where you don't have to necessarily water it all the time, and it might start to wither and look all deadly. But once you pop some water in there and start speaking words of affirmation over it, it comes to life again.
Good. Okay. I like that. That's really good. That's a good analogy. I would say that some things that made me feel like you were high maintenance over time. Real expectations you had of me. You could come home with an empty gas tank and I was supposed to go out and fill it. Like, that was high maintenance to me. Right? To me.
Okay, we should start doing a poll or something.
Okay, but like, you were outside, you come home, empty gas tank, and you want me to go back outside.
Can we
to fill
even
it.
just
let me just finish. Let me just
wait. I just want to know if we can take a tally mark of how many podcasts you've brought that up in.
2. This one and another one.
No, multiple.
Okay, fine. Something else I never brought up before. You don't eat leftovers.
I do eat leftovers.
You know we still got that macaroni and cheese in the refrigerator?
No, you don't. I threw it away a long time ago.
No, you didn't, because we had it in the refrigerator for a long time.
It was in there for a long time.
Oh, okay, I was
because it was a bad batch.
But listen, just let me finish.
You know I don't let macaroni and cheese sit in the fridge.
I need you not to be offended.
No, I need you to understand what was going on.
Listen.
I do eat left. Do you have a list?
Of course I have a list. Can I finish?
I don't. Whatever. Go ahead.
My goodness. So I was like, yo, you were like, babe, I want to go on a baby moon. And I was like, see, you can't be rolling your eyes. Like, do whatever you want. This is your thing. So I want to go on a baby moon. And I'm like, yo, that's not a thing. Like, I've never heard of that before in my life. But you're like, yo, I need a baby moon. I'm like, okay. And you're like, no, I need you to understand that you need to make it happen. That was not an option.
Listen, this is our 4th child. We're about to add a 4th child to this marriage, union, family.
I know.
I need a baby moon.
Okay.
Damn it. I don't care. I don't care. Listen.
What? So if we can't afford something, or we don't
Can I just ask a question?
I have a point. Yes.
How long is this
It's not
list?
long.
Okay.
It's not long. Jeez. You can't take it.
I can't.
If we can't afford something, like, that's not a no to you. Like, you'll find another way to get it. Right? So it doesn't mean, like, I'm not saying that, like, I'm saying that I don't think you're high maintenance in a way that costs a lot. I think most things that are precious need more care. You know what I'm saying? So like some of the best cars take the most maintenance. You know what I mean? And I just think it's more of a value on you. And sometimes I feel that as we continue to grow, like you already have such a high standard for yourself that I'm still trying to catch up to your like, we're good here. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You know, like, there was a lot of things that in the beginning I was like, man, this might be a part of, like, what your dad was talking about. You know what I mean? And I don't necessarily believe that is, like, that's not who you are. You know what I'm saying? I just think you have you have high hopes. You know what I'm saying, for yourself. Do you not think so?
I have high hopes for myself.
Yeah, like, you have high standards for yourself.
And having high standards makes me high maintenance?
No. But I think somebody who can't afford it or would see it as kind of like, you know, would you agree that, contentment is an issue sometimes?
Yes.
So I would think that, so
Everybody has contentment issues.
sure. But sometimes for me or for somebody else who may be looking on the outside, it may be like, oh, then, you know, what is going to be enough? You know what I'm saying? And I feel like sometimes that is what makes people think high maintenance, when it's like, it might seem like you're lacking contentment, but I don't know if that's a lack of contentment or hope for more. So there's a difference between being high maintenance and being in hope and being hopeful for the next thing. Because I remember, like, I tried to surprise you with the BMW, and we did a brand deal for BMW. I tried to surprise you, and I was like, "Yo, we got a date coming, a double date coming," and you were like, "Who is it?" And I was quiet, and the first thing you said out your mouth was Barack and Michelle Obama pulling up at our house. Like, what? And what universe does that make sense?
Man.
And I was just like, well, now whoever I say is gonna be worse than who you were expecting to be there, and I felt like a failure.
Babe, I knew that wasn't happening. I just wanted
But you understand how you shoot. You shoot.
I mean, I was getting into a BMW. I've never, like, you know, a BMW. We don't drive BMWs. We drive Nissans.
But don't you think that was a little high?
Yes.
Just like the car we were in.
But anything's possible.
See?
But it's a high maintenance. I don't think that's high maintenance.
I don't know. I want to be able to
high hopes.
I want to be able to impress you.
Okay.
It's hard to impress you.
It's not hard to impress me. Okay. I guess I can't speak on that. But I think you do a really good job at impressing me.
Okay. How married are you?
I'm so married that I made it through this whole podcast without crying.
My goodness. These hormones, guys.
How married are you, babe?
I'm so married that you always do that. I'm so married that when you needed me, I came in here and rescued you from a freaking lizard, an alligator that was inside of our
Babe,
home.
you actually... Okay, yes.
What?
Sorry.
I got it out. I was supposed to be leaving the house and going to LA to go to RIP Miss Nipsey Hussle. I was going to Vector 90, which was his co-working space. And Yvette started screaming, and it was like a lizard. And I don't know how it got in the boys' room.
I don't even know if it came from the boys' room. I don't know where it came from.
Yeah.
I suspect, well, you know, I don't know, because y'all, Raya is the biggest drama king in like this house. And so when that lizard was here, I don't feel like he reacted like he reacts when like Anaya poops on the floor or something.
I know one thing. He did not bring that in the house.
Okay.
Rye did not touch that.
Okay.
Rye is scared. He doesn't even wipe his own butt.
I'm just saying. He didn't react any kind of way. He could have brought it in and just threw a backpack or something.
Anyway, I got rid of that lizard. I was terrified because, I mean, like, usually like, I can pick up a lizard. I can do that. I've had snakes.
Then why didn't you pick it up?
Because I wasn't expecting to see it in our house. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're a different place, and you see something that's not normal. You're kind of like, I wasn't prepared to do this right now. You know? And so
the funny thing is, what you couldn't see on the video that Glenn posted with that footage is me on the other side of the door putting towels. I was like, this is not getting in my room.
Yeah, and that's what like straight up calls you into manhood. Sometimes you forget, like, yeah, I'm the man of the house.
Yes,
and then you're
you
like,
are.
dang, I'm the person that has to get the lizard out.
But the thing is, when you're gone,
You gotta be that person.
yeah.
Yeah. And you do it well too.
But it is like an adrenaline rush. It's like, okay, I just got to do this. No, there's no one else here. These children aren't going to do it, obviously.
Yep.
So, anyways.
Okay.
And that's just,
And that's
what?
and that's just how married we are.